I don't know what I'm running from, but I'm running still. I conversate with acquaintances, but it's nothing real. This is Mark Bell from SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. This question is brought to you by HowMuchYouBench.net, The Slingshot, and the only strength magazine in the world, ThePowerMagazine.com. I have heard time and time again people asking about steady state cardio and asking about high intensity interval training, sprint cardio, interval training, whatever you want to call it. So the differences between the two styles of cardio is steady state cardio is usually done where your heart rate is 130 to 140 or so, and you're trying to keep it in that range for anywhere between 25 minutes and about an hour, depending on the individual. Some guys like to even have the heart rate a little slower, but go for a little longer duration. Then there's HIIT training, or sprints, or high intensity interval training. And those types of people like to do, there's a lot of different ways of doing this one, but it's some form of a sprint followed by a lot of recovery. So let's just use this as an example. You might go hard for 20 seconds and then rest for about 4 minutes and then repeat. Or you might go hard for about, a certain distance. You might sprint 40 yards and then rest a minute or 2 minutes, depending on the individual, depending on the goal. Now, there's some different trains of thought, but what I wanted to say first and foremost is if HIIT training is so effective and sprinting is so effective, where are all the bodybuilders that are sprinting? I've never seen it personally. I trained at Gold's Gym in Venice, California for several years. My brother still trains there. He's been training there for probably 15 years, maybe even longer. And he's never seen it. I never see it when I go down there. It's really rare to even hear of a high-level bodybuilder doing any of that kind of stuff. But I've seen high-level bodybuilders do steady-state cardio. Now let's just look at all this in a more level-headed fashion, more level-headed manner. You have some really great people out there at the forefront of a lot of this. You got guys like Dr. Wayne Norton. I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. I haven't followed a ton of his stuff, but he has some great information out there. And he referred to a study about sprint work and how it's superior. Another guy is a friend of mine, John Kiefer, who's done a lot of research himself, has cited a lot of studies and so on and so forth. However, one thing to keep in mind is all these studies are fantastic, and this advancement in science is great, and all these different things are really great towards getting us to our goals, getting people to their goals faster, but also sometimes it comes down to what's practical. And so here is some of my advice and some of my take on all this, if anyone cares. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a research guy. Keep that in mind. I'm not a guy who's going to be analyzing papers and analyzing stacks and stacks of papers and stuff. But here's my take on it. After doing both styles of cardio many times for several years. Steady state cardio is easier to do. It's an easier way to burn calories. All it takes is some dedication to get your ass to a gym, or get your ass to your living room, or wherever it is that there's a treadmill available, a elliptical machine, or a bike. You can utilize any of those pieces of equipment. You can even go outside and go for a walk with a little bit faster of a pace and maybe holding some dumbbells or something like that. And all that would be fine for steady state cardio. You're keeping it somewhere between 30 minutes to 60 minutes. It's often recommended the heart rate is up above 120 beats per minute, usually more towards the 130, 140 range. Obviously, it depends on the athlete, depends on the age, and a lot of factors to go on there. But steady state cardio is going to be done at a much slower pace. If you're on a treadmill, you might only be going about 3 miles an hour on a grade of about 10. That might get you to where your heart rate needs to be. For many people, that would probably be an ideal place to be. Now with sprint work or HIIT training, It's a lot more complicated than that, due to like the logistics of maybe logistics isn't even that word, due to like the mechanics of some of the things inside of a gym. It is my belief that you can't really achieve some of the you can't really achieve the metabolic effect that you're looking for through utilizing pieces of equipment that are inside of a gym. Now, sprinting up a hill is a totally different ball game altogether. Sprinting on a track is a totally different ball game altogether, and those things are going to have a profound effect on burning fat and burning calories. But a stationary bike in the gym, an elliptical in the gym, all these different pieces, in my opinion, they're not going to get you to where you need to be. They're not going to get that real deep lung burn that we're looking for. So, having said that, I would say that if you're going to do any sort of high-intensity interval training, possibly with the exception of a spin bike. Spin bike can be pretty effective. You get going pretty damn fast. With the exception of possibly like a spin bike or some of these kind of fancier treadmills that you can sprint on nowadays, I would say that HIIT training pretty much needs to be done outside the gym, or you can sprint with like a prowler or a sled of some sort. Obviously you can just sprint, but it needs to be done like outside, I guess is basically what I'm trying to get to. In order for it to have its maximum effectiveness, you need to run stairs or a hill or something like that. Now, how many times a week can you do 6 to 8 sets, all out sprints up a goddamn hill for 30, 40 yards? How many times a week can you handle that with your work schedule, with your squatting, with your deadlifting, with your cleans and snatches and whatever the hell else it is that you do during the course of a week? Now, if you're a bodybuilder, maybe you're not doing all of those power movements, but you're still kicking a lot of ass. You're still doing a lot of heavy movements. You're still doing a lot of basic compound movements. Still doing bent over rows, overhead presses, a lot of different heavy presses, heavy pulls, and things like that. How often are you honestly going to be able to sprint? Now, if you're 270 pounds or 260, like the people's coach, how often are you going to be able to sprint? How well are you going to recover from those sprints? And how will your workouts go from those sprints? High intensity interval training, easy for me to say, is basically, it's very similar to lifting weights in some ways. So what I would suggest to a lot of you guys out there is just use your heads. Be practical with a lot of this stuff. High intensity interval training is effective. Steady state cardio is effective. They are both effective. Why choose one? Why just simply choose one and dismiss the other? Why not choose both? If fat loss is your goal, if being jacked and tan is your goal, then why not use all means? Why not flip over every stone? Remember, in your strength training efforts and in your effort to be jacked and tan, as part of the Power Project Army, you are to flip over every stone and to leave no stone unturned in your training. And so, having said that, why not use both ways of doing cardio? Why not use high intensity interval training 1 to 3 times a week? Let's just say 2 times a week, 1 week, and 3 times the next, and flip-flop the steady state cardio in between. Something along those lines. Maybe do two and two of both if you're trying to really get in some, if you're trying to get lean and you're trying to really strip down some body fat. 2 days of steady state, 2 days of HIIT training. Why not use both? And where would you put those? You'd have to put those on a leg day, wouldn't you, in order to get full recovery? Those are just some things to think about. How practical is it to go out and sprint every day? And, you see this information being spit out as if we're all the same. And we're not. There's a lot of big dudes out there, and I don't want to see them sprinting. I'm about to go inside a gym right now and hit up some cardio. I'm just going to do some steady state cardio. Am I going to go to hell for it? No. I'm going to be leaner for it. I'm going to be more jacked for it. And I'm going to live to do another Power Project Army interview tomorrow, hopefully. I do get shot, but not quite yet. Don't worry. It's a whole East Coast, West Coast thing. It's a big ordeal. I don't know. It's a dream I had. I swear to God, it's a true story. Horrifying. Anyway, hopefully you guys get my point. Hopefully you guys understand. Also, you know, you got like injuries, you got bumps and bruises, you got hamstring injuries, you got problems with your ankles, problems with your knee. How effective are you going to be able to sprint? How well are you going to be able to sprint? You're going to be able to sprint enough to get enough out of it? I doubt it. Steady state cardio would be the way to go. What if you're obese? What if you're obese? What if you're a big fat fuck and you've been sitting on a couch for 3 years, yelling at the TV because your team's not winning the Super Bowl or whatever it is that you're doing? Is it going to be wise to start your training out with some sprints because somebody on the interweb said so? No, it'd be smarter to ease your way into it, right? People's coach is just always trying to bring you back down to reality and trying to help you guys sort some of this information out. The information that's being put out there by some of these experts and stuff out there is amazing. It really is, and it's great to be part of Power Magazine. It's great to be running a magazine, and it's great to gather this information, hear about all this information, but use your heads too. You know, when you hear about, you know, HIIT training, high intensity, you know, interval training, you know, where are all the bodybuilders that are sprinting? Have you ever heard Ronnie Coleman talk about doing a sprint? You know, I don't really remember Jay Cutler talking about it either. Maybe it is the new thing. Maybe that's going to be, maybe it's some next level shit we've never heard of. But I'm not saying to never do it. I'm saying that it is effective. It's been proven to be effective. But I'd also say, how practical is it to being able to recover from your workouts? I know Mike O'Hearn, who is one of the most ripped dudes on the planet, and he's over 250 pounds all the time. He's always under 5% body fat. The guy's insane. He uses steady state cardio. Steady state cardio wrong for him? I don't think so. He doesn't do any sprints. He says, you know why? Because the sprints beat me up and I can't lift. He likes to lift heavy and he likes to do cardio. He likes to do both because he likes to be lean, he likes to be jacked, he likes to be tan, he likes to be strong. Strength is never weakness, and that is it from supertraining.tv.